I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Village Board for May 25th, 2021. Could you please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Village Clerk, would you please call the roll?
President DeSimone,
Here.
Trustee Franz,
Here.
Trustee Fry,
Here.
Trustee Penicola,
Here.
Trustee Perez.
Here.
That's 5.
We will move to public comment. Does anyone wish to address the board? If so, please approach the podium and state your name.
We have no public comment this evening, Mr. President.
Is there any online public comment?
There is no online public comment, Mr.
This
President.
will conclude public comment. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the May 11th, 2021 Village Board?
You have a motion?
Is there a second?
You have a second?
Are there any modifications to the minutes? Please call the roll.
Trustee Franz,
Yes.
Trustee Fry,
Yes.
Trustee Penicola,
Yes.
Trustee Perez.
Yes.
That's 4.
Motion carries and the minutes are approved. The next item of business is to approve the warrant in the amount of $2,597,091.58. Is there a motion to approve the warrant?
You have a motion?
Is there a second on the motion?
You have a second?
Any discussion on the warrant? Please call the roll.
Trustee Franz,
Yes.
Trustee Fry,
Yes.
Trustee Penicola,
Yes.
Trustee Perez.
Yes.
That's 4.
Motion carries and the warrant is approved. There are no items on the consent agenda. There's one under community and economic development, a resolution accepting a proposal for the village-owned vacant parcel of real property at 340 North Meyer Road for its appraised value and authorizing the village manager to finalize the terms of the sale and development of the property. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
You have a motion?
Do I have a second?
You have a second?
Being a motion and a second, do we have discussion?
Mr. Viger, please explain the backstory on this one.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Mayor, members of the board, this is the former well site on the west side of Meyer Road near Leland Court in the Northern Business District and in TIF 12. Of course, it is vacant. On the 23rd of March, the board declared the property surplus under Resolution 31-2021. On the 1st of April, we published a public notice of sale of the property, looking for proposals after the 15th of April. 2 proposals were received, one from PC Properties LLC in the amount of $95,000 and one from Racco Polymers in the amount of $110,000, which was above the appraised value of $105,000. The resolution you have before you tonight is to authorize the village manager, Mr. Summers, to negotiate a purchase and sale agreement with Racco Polymers for this property, get it back on the tax rolls. You'll see in your pack that Racco Polymers is proposing to construct an industrial building on the property, which would obviously generate increased increment in TIF 12 from property tax. A brief analysis by the economic planner here in the department saw that over a 10-year period, there'd be in excess of $200,000 incremental property tax increase over an undeveloped or parking lot use. So we respectfully request that you authorize the approval of the resolution, I should say authorizing Mr. Summers to negotiate that contract.
Any other discussion from the board? So just so we have this straight, Mr. Viger, not only did we get it above the appraised value, they're going to develop it. And so, because if it's village owned, there's no taxes on it. Now it's going to be privately owned. We're going to get the tax money on it, correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Any other question? Oh, go ahead.
We negotiate this. We're going to make sure to put a clawback in there that if it's not developed, then the property will revert back to the village and we can do this process all over again.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Please call the roll. Yeah.
Trustee Franz,
Yes.
Trustee Fry,
Yes.
Trustee Penicola,
Yes.
Trustee Perez.
Yes.
That's 4.
Motion carries and the resolution is approved. Number 2 is an ordinance granting a variation to allow a fence in the corner side yard at 146 South Mason Street, Bensonville, Illinois. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
You have a motion?
Do I have a second?
You have a second?
Being a motion and second, do we have discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is, as you said, 146 South Mason. It's the southwest corner of Grove Avenue and Mason Street. It's a large 12,000 plus square foot single family lot with the lovely renovated blue Victorian home there. The request is for a fence in the corner side yard along Grove Avenue.
Mhm.
It's a little bit different. Usually we see these sorts of requests with 6 foot privacy fences and so forth right up on the property line. The Sears, who I believe are in the audience tonight, are proposing a lovely 4 foot rounded top picket type fence. The illustration is in your packet, and it's 15 feet south of that property line. They have an excessively large
Mm.
corner side yard
Yeah.
of 30 feet. So this fence is basically halfway between the blue home there and the sidewalk on Grove. The staff had reviewed the material with the petitioners and agreed with the approval criteria, which generated the findings of fact presented to the CDC on the 4th of May. The CDC did agree with the staff recommendation of approval and voted to recommend approval of the variation for the 4 foot picket fence in the corner side yard 5-0. The only condition thereof was that it be as requested with that picket type fence with the curved top. So we respectfully request that the board concur with the CDC recommendation of approval.
Any questions from the board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Franz,
Yes.
Trustee Fry,
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola,
Yes.
Trustee Perez.
Yes.
That's 4.
Motion carries and the ordinance is passed. Number 3 is an ordinance granting a special use permit to operate a daycare center at 227 West Grand Avenue in Bensonville, Illinois. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
You have a motion?
Do we have a second?
You have a second?
Being a motion and a second, do we have discussion? Trigger?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this may seem like deja vu. We've approved 2 special use permits for daycare centers in this building in the past, one in 2009 and then more recently in 2019, as is our practice when things do change, or in this case, that daycare center closed, the use was quote unquote abandoned. So we go back through the public review and entitlement process for the new special use for the daycare center. This is on Grand Avenue. I should have mentioned the address, 227. It's in the El Torreo Shopping Center there, just east of Plaza de Campana. Very simply, we did recommend approval of the daycare center. It's a valued amenity here in our community. Petitioner has 2 other daycare centers, one in the village of Streamwood, one in the city of Belvedere, so they are experienced in this sort of work. We do have a couple of conditions that we'd have requested: a semi-annual review and approval of the rotting of sanitary sewer, and the state and county regulations relative to daycare centers and licensing, of course, we need to follow, and then some exiting requirements with the doors. It's building code things that are easily reviewed. So my apologies. We did recommend approval of this. The CDC concurred on the 4th, of May 5-0. There were no public present to object. So we ask the approval of the ordinance.
Any
And
que-
for the
any-
benefit, the petitioner, Amin Toulouse, is in the audience tonight.
Any questions from the board? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Franz,
Yes.
Trustee Fry,
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola,
Yes.
Trustee Perez.
Yes.
That's 4.
Motion carries and ordinance is passed. Number 4 is an ordinance amending Chapter 7 of Title 10 zoning of the Bensonville Village Code for the purpose of accessory retail use and swimming pool regulations. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
You have a motion?
Do I have a second?
You have a second?
Being a motion and a second, any discussion?
Mr.
Very briefly, Mr. Mayor, we have 2 items here. One is, for all practical purposes, a Scrivener's error correcting the swimming pool regulations from IBC to IRC, or vice versa, I should say, from IRC, International Residential Code, International Building Code. It was just a typo in the ordinance. And perhaps more importantly, Section 10721, retail goods establishments. What this does, oversimplified, allows for factory stores, if you will. If you've got the widget factory up on Industrial Drive, they can have the factory store to sell those widgets out of that industrial property. This is something we've done administratively over the past, and it's important to get this in the code so there's clearly defined regulations for them. So this is a staff proposal. We took it before the CDC again on the 4th of May, and they recommended approval 5-0.
So just so the board is aware and maybe clear up for me, so if I make, I don't know, toy trains, instead of me shipping them out, I can sell them there. We can benefit from the sales tax revenue from that too.
Yes, sir.
Any questions from the board?
I think another famous example is where we're becoming more and more of a food cluster is like the Vienna beef factory in Chicago, where you can have an outlet store and you can get some right off the line.
Call the roll, please.
Trustee Franz,
Yes.
Trustee Fry,
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola,
Yes.
Trustee Perez.
Yes.
That's 4.
Motion carries and ordinance is passed. We do not have a report under finance or the police department of public works. Is a resolution authorizing an award of a contract for design engineering services for the Eastern Avenue reconstruction project to Christopher Burke Engineering LTD in the not to exceed amount of $98,303. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
You have a motion?
Do I have a second?
You have a second?
Motion and with a motion and a second, do we have a discussion, Joe?
Sure. Good evening, everybody. My first item tonight is one of 3 design engineering agreements before you as we start to plan for our 2022 construction season. So the Eastern Avenue reconstruction project will focus on Eastern Avenue from Ellis Street to the eastern limits in our North Business District. The scope includes new concrete pavement, curb and gutters, driveway aprons, spot sidewalk repairs, ADA ramp upgrades, and a new 12-inch water main with services to the buildings up there. There's some small drainage improvements, landscaping, and some other associated items. Staff has selected Christopher B. Burke Engineering from our short list of design firms to complete the design work. They were the design engineer for our 2012 Northern Business District Improvement Project, so they're well aware of our standards up there. And I think they did a great job on that design in the last go round. Burke was asked to submit a proposal for design work that consists of survey, geotechnical investigation, environmental testing, outside permitting, utility coordination, design of plans, all the usual stuff that we have our design engineers do. The negotiated cost with them was $98,303. Funding for this project will be through our TIF 12 account, and staff does recommend approval.
Joe, just so I'm clear of this, you're not standing on a ledge somewhere outside where it looked like you're going to jump off next to a wall. You're okay?
I'm okay.
All right. Any questions from the board? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Franz,
Yes.
Trustee Fry,
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola,
Yes.
Trustee Perez.
Yes.
That's 4.
Motion carries. Resolution is approved. Number 2 is a resolution authorizing the award of a contract for design engineering services for the 2022 Village Water Main Improvement Project to James J. Bennis and Associates Incorporated in the not to exceed amount of $71,650. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
You have a motion?
Do I have a second?
You have a second?
Being a motion and second, do we have discussion?
So our second design engineering agreement is for our 2022 Water Main Improvement Project. This project is going to focus on Glendale, Medina, and Brookwood between Marshall and Eastview. So actually adding on to our water main project from last year. The scope includes a new 8-inch water main with new services. We're going to resurface all the roads with asphalt out there, our normal spot curb and gutter repair, driveway aprons, and sidewalk repairs with ADA upgrades. Some minor drainage improvements, landscaping, and some other items. On this project, staff selected James J. Bennis from our short list of design firms to complete the design work. They've successfully designed multiple water main and roadway projects for us over the last 10 years. The scope of their work is very similar, doing the survey, geotechnical, design plans, construction specifications, all the normal stuff. The negotiated cost for them to perform the work was $71,650. Funding for this project will be through our water sewer funds. Staff does recommend approval.
Any questions from the board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Franz,
Yes.
Trustee Fry,
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola,
Yes.
Trustee Perez.
Yes.
That's 4.
Motion carries and the resolution is approved. Number 3 is a resolution authorizing an award of a contract for design engineering services for the 2022 Village Street Improvement Program to James J. Bennis Associates Incorporated in the not to exceed amount of $58,353. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
You have a motion?
Do I have a second?
You have a second?
Being a motion and a second, we have discussion.
Yep, so our 2022 street improvement project is going to be all over the town. So a couple areas we're going to focus on is Ridgewood Avenue and Hawthorne Avenue from 2nd Street to Donna Lane, and Donna Lane as well between Ridgewood and Hawthorne. We're going to work on Memorial between Church and York, the Crestbrook subdivision, which is Forest View between Addison and York, Addison and Center between Forest View and Woodland between Addison and Center. And then also there's a stretch of John Street between Brentwood Court and George Street. This project's going to include a scope that's going to have a 2-inch mill and overlay with some extensive full depth patching on certain areas of the streets, spot curb repairs, driveway aprons, and sidewalk repairs, ADA ramp upgrades, and the such. Staff has selected James J. Bennis again for this one. They have done our street program for the last 5 years successfully. We've asked them to submit a proposal. It came in at the negotiated amount of $58,353. Funding for this project will come through our CIP account, and staff does recommend approval.
Any questions from the board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Franz,
Yes.
Trustee Fry,
Yes.
Trustee Penicola,
Yes.
Trustee Perez.
Yes.
That's 4.
Motion carries and resolution is approved. 4 is a resolution authorizing the approval of a purchase order to Core and Main for census water meters annual maintenance in the not to exceed amount of $19,151. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
You have a motion?
Do I have a second?
You have a second?
Being a motion and a second, do we have discussion?
So this item renews our software maintenance agreement with Core and Main for our census automatic meter read system. So basically the software allows us to do automatic meter reads so we don't have our meter readers out walking the streets. It also allows us to get some alerts and alarms based on the logic software that's built into it. We can do on-demand reads for final reads and things like that. So it's a software package that we use daily here in the village. Core and Main is the local distributor for the census software and thus is a sole source vendor for this annual expense. Funding does come from our water sewer fund and staff does recommend approval.
Any questions from the board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Franz,
Yes.
Trustee Fry,
Yes.
Trustee Penicola,
Yes.
Trustee Perez.
Yes.
That's 4.
Motion carries and the resolution is approved. Number 5 is a resolution authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental agreement, IGA, with the Illinois Department of Transportation, which is IDOT, for traffic signal maintenance on state highways. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
You have a motion?
Do we have a second?
You have a second?
Being a motion and a second, do we have discussion?
So this IGA with IDOT establishes our responsibilities for signalized intersections where the village roads cross the state roads. The village has, and the state share, 4 different intersections on Irving Park Road and 3 intersections on Route 83. At these intersections, IDOT performs maintenance annually. They also do repairs when traffic signals go bad. So as part of the IGA, the village agrees to reimburse IDOT for the costs associated with our legs of each intersection. So if you have an intersection that crosses a village roadway, IDOT probably has 2 of those legs and the village owns the other 2 legs. The village is responsible for 100% of the costs associated with the Opticom system. That's our emergency vehicle preemption system. The last IGA that we had with IDOT expires in June 30th of this year. So this new IGA will be 10 years long and expire on June 30th of 2031. There's no financial impact on this from our budget. Staff has reviewed the IGA and finds it acceptable and accurate. So we do recommend approval.
Any questions from the board? Call the roll.
Trustee Franz,
Yes.
Trustee Fry,
Yes.
Trustee Penicola,
Yes.
Trustee Perez.
Yes.
That's 4.
Motion carries and resolution is approved. Number 6 is a resolution authorizing the execution of a purchase order with New Toys Leisure Products for the purchase of refuge receptacles in the not to exceed amount of $23,370. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
You have a motion?
Do I have a second?
You have a second?
Being a motion and a second, any discussion?
Yeah, so on this one, staff's requesting approval for a purchase order to buy 15 trash receptacles. Our plan is to install these along Irving Park Road and around the City of Chicago property located at York and Green. As part of our 2015 and 16 streetscape project along Irving Park Road, trash receptacles were not included in that scope. Over the years, we've seen a need to probably install those receptacles and to try to clean up the area a little bit better. We intend to install 10 cans along Irving Park Road and 4 along the York and Green property. The receptacles will be the same as those that we purchased for our downtown streetscape. The local distributor for the Dumar 157-22 style can is New Toys Leisure Products. Staff did secure joint purchase pricing through the Keystone Purchasing Network. This is just a joint purchase network for governmental agencies. The cost for the 15 receptacles with shipping is $23,370. And now this was an unbudgeted item. But with some of the money that we're expecting to get from our developers for reforestation of our village, we're looking to take some of the money we had budgeted this year for our Route 83 tree replacement and substitute that with these cans. So by using the developer funds, it'll free up money that will allow us to purchase these cans. Funding for the project will be our general forestry budget, our right-of-way budget, and staff does recommend approval.
Any questions from the board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Franz,
Yes.
Trustee Fry,
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola,
Yes.
Trustee Perez.
Yes.
That's 4.
Motion carries. And the resolution is approved. Number 7 is a resolution authorizing a purchase order to the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency for the annual wastewater treatment plant NPDES operating permit in the not to exceed amount of $17,500. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
You have a motion?
Do I have a second?
You have a second?
Being a motion is second, do we have discussion?
So this is our annual IEPA wastewater treatment plant permit for operating the treatment plant. These permits are required under the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System. That's what NPDES stands for. The cost for our operating permit is $17,500. Funding for this purchase will come from our water sewer fund. We do budgets for this every year, and staff does recommend approval.
Any questions from the board? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Franz,
Yes.
Trustee Fry,
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola,
Yes.
Trustee Perez.
Yes.
That's 4.
Motion carries and the resolution is approved. Number 8 is a resolution authorizing the execution of a purchase order to the DuPage River Salt Creek Work Group, DRSCW, for the 2021-2022 annual dues in a not to exceed amount of $14,835. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
You have a motion?
Do I have a second?
You have a second?
Being a motion and a second, any discussion?
So the village has been a member of DuPage River Salt Creek Work Group since it started back in 2005. We were one of the founding members. The work group really acts as a steward for local wastewater treatment plants, municipalities, and volunteer groups to help protect and enhance our streams that all of our wastewater treatment plants discharge to. The work group also serves as a liaison with the United States EPA and the Illinois EPA and helps control some of our permit limits and things like that. Our current participation in the work group provides an extended permit cycle for our existing permits. Typically they're 5 years, but because we belong to the work group, our permit's been extended for 10 years. And it also saves the village probably about $100,000 a year in chemical needs on our phosphorus limit. The EPA wanted to reduce our phosphorus limit on our permit, but because we're participating in this work group and we had the extended time, they can't do that for another 7 years. So there are benefits to doing this that outweigh the cost that would be implicated on us if we did not. The annual dues to continue our membership are $14,835. Again, we do budget for this every year in our water sewer fund, and staff does recommend approval.
Any questions from the board? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Franz,
Yes.
Trustee Fry,
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola,
Yes.
Trustee Perez.
Yes.
That's 4.
Motion carries and resolution is approved. We do not have a recreation report. Presidential remarks. So for those who missed my announcement at our last board meeting, the Village of Benson will be having our Liberty Fest, 4th of July celebration this year. Activities will begin at 6 o'clock at Redmond Recreational Complex. There will be live entertainment, food and drinks for purchase, and a fireworks show that begins at 9:30. I also announced that Music in the Park will return to downtown Bensonville beginning July 14th through August 25th. Please see the Village website for more information on both of those events. Flag Day is June 14th. Many Americans celebrate Flag Day by displaying the red, white, and blue in front of their houses or businesses. This day commemorates the adoption of the Stars and Stripes as the official flag of the United States. Just a reminder, the Village has an old flag drop box located on the first floor of Village Hall. So please feel free to drop your old or damaged flags into the box, and the Bensenville Boy Scouts will maintain that box. That is all for the Village President's announcements. Do I have a manager's report?
You do, Your Honor. I have a few items this evening. The first one is just some housekeeping. Village Hall will be closed this Monday, May 31st for an honor Memorial Day. So do your business around that. The village is in collaboration with DuPage County. We will be holding a contactless shredding event on June 12th from 10 a.m. to noon at the Public Works facility. You can stay in your vehicle, pop your trunk. Staff will come out, grab the paper that needs to be shredded, and send it off to the shredder. So it's a really easy way to clean up and do some spring cleaning around the house. I'm also pleased to announce that, as you can tell, we have removed, if you're vaccinated at village facilities, you no longer need to wear a mask. That is in accordance with the CDC guidelines as well as the state of Illinois and DuPage County. So at all of our facilities, if you're vaccinated, you do not need to wear a mask. If you're not yet vaccinated, please still wear a mask for everyone's protection. Also, the village, this is our last, hopefully our last Zoom meeting for a long time. We're looking to return to the boardroom on June 15th. We invite everyone to come to that and kind of start getting back to normal. And then I wanted to give an airport report. It's been a while since I've given one. And I know Trustee Franz has been pushing me to do this, so I'll hat tip to her. We are still negotiating the runway rotation plan. We're now calling it Fly Quiet 21 for the nighttime hours between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. That will basically reduce the number of impacts that Bentonville residents have onto the long runways. So mainly in the hillside neighborhood, we're hoping to use all of the runways in an equitable manner. We all benefit from O'Hare. We need to share in the pain of O'Hare. So that's a negotiation. We've narrowed down the alternatives from 7 different alternatives to 2 remaining, alternative B and alternative H. If either of those go forward, it will be beneficial to our residents. So we've done a really good job negotiating that. As you know, the O'Hare Noise Compatibility Commission is about, I think it's 57 different municipalities. So getting everyone to agree on something is difficult. We've kind of been stuck since February on these last 2, but I do think by the end of summer, we should have something concrete in place and passing that along to the full ONCC. Now, I know that a lot of people are complaining about the number of flights again. And while we are still below the historic average at O'Hare, the recent average, due to the pandemic, flights are definitely picking back up. So we're seeing that. That's compounded on the fact that runway 9 right, 27 left, which is a northern runway. It's one of the backbones of O'Hare, is currently being extended. So it's under construction. So we can't use that runway at any time, 24 hours a day. We're no longer allowed to use that. And that's pushing a lot of the pressure down to the southern airfield. That construction is set to go through December of this year. So we've got a long way ahead of us, but we're just being transparent with everybody that why it's occurring. After December 2021, CDA hands that runway off to the FAA, and the FAA electronic on there. So we've got a little bit of time ahead of us, and it's got to be painful, but if you want to talk about it, give us a call. We're here. I are well versed in talking about the airport.
Hey, is there a lot of background, or is that just me? I didn't hear the last thing you said, Evan.
Oh, sorry. So if you have any questions about the airport, feel free to give Steve or I a call directly. We're always happy to talk to residents about what's going on at O'Hare.
I do have a question, because this weekend I must have gotten 4 or 5 phone calls from residents saying that something's going around the neighborhoods, that O'Hare is going to be buying up more property. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Unequivocally, I can say that there are no current plans to buy up more neighborhoods for O'Hare's expansion. The take area was part of the area that Bentonville lost. We all know Bentonville lost. That was announced in 2005. And the whole plan that we're underway now for runway extensions and new runways, that's all based on that 2005 plan. There is no new additional real estate that O'Hare is acquiring. And if that ever changes, and I do not anticipate it to change, you guys will be the first to know. So unequivocally, no.
Is that it for your report?
That is it for my report. Thank you.
Village Attorney's report?
I have no report, Mr. President.
Is there any unfinished business to come before the board tonight?
Nope.
Is there any new business to come before the board tonight?
Nope.
Do we have executive session?
There is no need, Mr. President.
Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
You have a motion?
Do I have a second?
You have a second?
Please call the roll.
Trustee Franz,
Yes.
Trustee Fry,
Yes?
Trustee Penicola,
Yes.
Trustee Perez.
Yes.
That's 4.
Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good night.